first task today is going to be to think about course selection. We're assuming you all have an offer of place. You have a student visa if you're an international student. You have an offer of place into the program that you want to enroll. If you don't, then you probably need to see someone right at the beginning and say, look, I need to sort out my offer of place first. But the main task today is to take those who already have reached that stage and to help them get into the courses they need to take in the first semester of study, starting on Tuesday morning. It's probably already been mentioned, but Monday is a public holiday, so don't come on Monday. Well, you can come if you like, but you'll have to play with all the other students who came and didn't realize it was a public holiday because the staff won't be here. So, course selection. You'll each be told to go to a particular room, and that room for your program, and at that room you'll be given instructions about how to undertake the course selection. Some of you will be in programs where the courses you're going to study are already predetermined, and so it's just really to go and get information about them. In other programs you'll actually have a selection. You can either choose this one or choose that one. And so you'll get some information which will tell you the timetable, when these courses are offered, and you'll get some information about advice as to which courses are the best ones to choose for the program of study that you want to undertake. Perhaps just for an example, if you're going to be studying in the Bachelor of Tourism Management program, we'd probably recommend that in your first semester you take 2.120, which is English study writing, and maybe 2.113, which is business economics. But there are other courses that you could choose instead of economics. We always recommend study writing in the first semester. Economics, perhaps you could do instead of that, you could do marketing or management or business communication. So there are a number of options that you could choose from there. In the first semester of study, we recommend that you only choose 2 courses if you're a bachelor's degree student or a diploma student. The reason for that is that you come from another culture, another education culture, and so you may find that there are things that we do here that are a little bit different and take a bit of adjusting to. So rather than take on too heavy a load in your first semester, we recommend 2. And after the first semester, if you've shown that you can cope with 2 courses successfully, then we recommend that you go up to 3. And 3 courses per semester is the average that students will take. Every now and then we get a student who's really, really enthusiastic and wants to try 4. My advice to them is, if you can show me that you can take 3 courses in one semester and get 3 A's, I'll let you do the 4 courses in the following semester. So generally we expect to carry a workload of about 3 courses, but in the first semester we recommend a lower workload, just while you're getting used to the system, used to the new studying in a new language, and used to just a different culture altogether. Okay, so we'll be in the different rooms that you're directed to help you with your course selection. I'll be going with the graduate diploma students, graduate diploma in international business, and graduate diploma in tourism management. I think Adam, in the program in international business, will be going with the DIB students. We have Hamish here, who's our new Bachelor of Hospitality Management program head, and he will take those students. And then we have Mike, who's the head of the IT program, so he'll take the IT students. And Samisi, who just stepped out from the tourism management, so he'll take the tourism management students. So you'll have somebody to help you with that selection. I want to take the rest of the time that I'm allowed to have. Elizabeth keeping very strict control on my use of time. You may have heard of the book by Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Well, I've got one that's called 10 Signs of Successful Students. or 10 habits, if you like, of highly successful students. The first one is, it's already been mentioned as a requirement, and that's 100% attendance. Now, I know it's a requirement for immigration, but I think more importantly, it's a requirement for learning. You can't learn if you're not in class. And we have many students whose attendance is poor. They don't bother to catch up when they miss class, and they wonder why they fail the course and have to pay to repeat. And they come and cry in my office and say, I can't afford to pay for the repeat of the course. And I say, well, look at your attendance. Is this my fault or is it your fault? And so then we have to think about how they're going to be able to repeat that course. So 100% attendance and being punctual, being on time to class. When you graduate and you get a job, if you come half an hour late to your job every day, you'll probably be fired at the end of the first week. Part of studying in a school is learning to develop the personal habits and self-discipline that will make you successful in your later life. Punctuality is definitely one of those. Talking about self-discipline and this 100% attendance thing and punctuality, I have students who say, oh, I didn't come yesterday because I wasn't feeling very well. What they mean is, when I woke up in the morning, I felt tired. And I didn't want to come to school because I was too tired to get up. My advice to that person would be, wake up and smell the roses. That's life. We need to be able to discipline ourselves. If we've got an appointment to be somewhere, then we prepare to be there on time. And if that means setting an alarm at 6:30 so we can catch the 7 o'clock bus so we can be in school by 9 o'clock or wherever we're coming from, I'm sure that's a bit extreme, that example, but that's what we do. And I know that you all have alarm clocks because you all have cell phones. Cell phones all have alarm clocks built into them. Okay. Habit number 2, sit up front and pay attention. I often give students that if you're in my class, I will put $5 notes under the front 2 rows so that people who sit in the front seats will be rewarded. But students who sit in the front seat will be rewarded by the fact that they'll pay attention, they'll be right there with the teacher, and they'll be participating in the conversation, whereas the students, no disrespect to the ones in the back row here today, but the students sitting in the back might be looking down at their cell phones and texting their friends and talking to each other and doing all sorts of things. So sit up the front and pay attention. Of course, you can't all sit up the front, so that means you've got to be here early to get the front seats. Sometimes I find that the early people take the back seats, and that's disturbing. Number 3, collect your textbooks as soon as you're able, and do the assigned readings before class. Now this is very important. If you go to a class where the teacher is going to introduce a new topic, and you haven't read anything on that topic, you are hearing about that topic for the first time when you're in class. And sometimes it will be difficult to understand what the teacher is talking about. But if you have read the textbook chapter, you'll have a course outline that you'll get on the first day of class, and in that course outline will give you a schedule of what we're going to study in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and it'll give you the chapter in the textbook. If you've read that chapter in the textbook before you go to class, then maybe you'll understand half of what you read, maybe the other half is a little bit uncertain, but when the teacher then teaches you about the important points of that, this will sound familiar, and you'll know a lot more, and you'll be in a position to take a lot more advantage of what the teacher is talking about in the class. You might even be able to answer some questions when the teacher asks you. Number 4, take notes. And when I say take notes, I don't just mean in lectures, but I also mean take notes when you're reading. When you're doing your reading, if you take notes on the things that you think are important, and if you take notes on the things that you don't quite understand, when you get to class and the teacher says any questions, you can say, yes, I've got a whole list of them right here. And those will help you clarify the things you don't understand. Habit number 5, successful students ask questions. And that's perhaps similar to the last one, but when there's something that they don't know, they put their hand up and they ask. if they're embarrassed to ask in class. Each teacher is required to have at least 1 hour a week consultation time for each of their classes. So if you have a question, go to see your teacher during the consultation hour and ask them. They're the first line of help for you. Sometimes I think students go to Tamendi, study skills advisor, for help before they've asked the teacher questions about things they don't understand. And Tamendi is not a subject expert. She's one who helps with general study skills. But if you have a question to ask about the subject, you need to talk to your teacher. Okay, number 6, take assignments seriously. The due date is the due date. If you hand them in late, you're liable to suffer a penalty on your grade. If you don't hand them in at all, you'll probably fail the course. And so don't start your assignment on the night before it's due. The assignment due dates are in the course outline you get on the first day. So stop and think, it's going to take me I've got about 4 weeks before the first assignment's due, or 6 weeks, or whatever it is. And so I'm going to do a little bit of reading each time to try and help me prepare for that. And I'm going to have my first draft by the end of week such and such, and I'm going to fine-tune it. If there's anything I don't understand, I'm going to see the teacher. And so if you've got a schedule set out for submitting that assignment, then you'll get a really good mark on your assignment because you've done it well and successfully. Now, there's a question of fairness here. Let's say you do all of that and you get your assignment in and you've done a great job, and the night before the assignment's due and your friend comes to you, your classmate comes in a panic and says, "Oh, I just realized I've got to hand in my assignment tomorrow and I haven't started yet. Can I have a look at yours?" What's the answer? No. The answer is no. No matter how much of a friend you want to be. If you really want to be a friend, you won't give it to them. Why? Because assignments are designed to help students learn. And when they take shortcuts, they don't learn. And they get caught cheating, and they get a 0 on the assignment and probably fail the course. Not only that, but the person who gave them their assignment is in danger of having to appear before the Student Discipline Committee also. We have a thing in New Zealand when we talk about parenting. Some of you may have heard of it. It's called tough love. Tough love is what a parent uses with a small child. Let's say a little baby wants to put a finger on the PowerPoint because it looks interesting. The parent doesn't say, "Oh, yes dear, if you want to do that, you can do that. That's fine, no problem." No, the parent doesn't do that. The parent says, "I love you too much to let you put your finger on there because I don't want to have a dead child." And so the parent says no. And if the child persists, they might even go like that. Just very lightly. Just to reinforce the importance of that. Now, translated into a school situation, tough love means that when your friend comes to you and says, "Can I check your assignment? I won't copy it, promise." They always say that, and they always do. "I won't copy your assignment, promise." You say to them, "The academic vice president said that I was to tell you that I love you too much to let you look at my assignment." And if they can't accept that, then send them to me and I'll help them understand. Okay, so that's what I mean. Actually, this moves us into number 7, which is don't take shortcuts, because plagiarism or cheating or copying defeats the whole purpose of the assignment, which is for students to learn. Number 8, highly successful students study outside of class. Now here's a new idea. Some students think they can come to the lectures and that's all they need to do and they should pass the course. And when that's all they do and they fail the course, they come crying to me again. We expect that students will have to do at stage 1 level, at say level 5, that they would have to do at least 1 hour self-directed study outside of the classroom for every hour that they spend in class. So if you've got a class at level 5 that is 6 hours a week, we would expect you to spend another 6 hours during that week reading your textbook, reviewing your notes, working on assignments, and just generally working on that course. Now, one of the reasons for only requiring you to do 2 courses in the first semester is so that if you need extra time to study outside of class, you can actually do up to 2 hours for every every 1 hour in the classroom because you're only taking 2. So, study out of class. Now, this relates to the notion that we are full-time students. And if you're an international student, your student visa is given on condition that you are enrolled as a full-time student in a recognized program. Now, if we're working at a full-time job, how many hours a week are we working? 40 hours, right? 40 hours a week is recognized as a full-time job. So if we're a full-time student, how many hours a week would we be studying? 10, 15, 20? No, we'd be studying 40 hours a week, at least. That's probably for a B. If you want an A, you probably need to do 60. But, yeah. So, we know that international students are allowed to work up to 20 hours a week to supplement their income or to supplement their costs. If they spend 20 hours a week, if they take the maximum that they're allowed, 20 hours a week, does that get subtracted from the 40 hours so that you only have to do 20 hours of study? No, it doesn't. It means you do 40 hours of study plus 60 hours, plus 20 hours of work. Total 60 hours. So if you want to get a part-time job and earn some extra money, be prepared to work 60 hours a week, because that's what you will need to do. Highly successful students review their notes on a regular basis. They go back and they read through, what did we study in that first chapter again? What did we do in that second chapter? Especially when they've got a midterm test or a final exam coming up. And that leads me to the last point, is that successful students prepare well for exams. They look at previous exams, they predict patterns, but they also know the work well enough that whatever question the teacher asks me, I can nail it. Okay, so that's my 10 habits of highly successful students.